Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to come out here and show our appreciation to our servicemen and women and the sacrifices that they make each and every day. In the words of Barack Obama, in the face of impossible odds, people who love this country can change it. And that's why we look to our servicemen and women as heroes, because they serve every day to protect our values, to protect our freedoms, and to preserve all that we hold dear here as Americans.
Hey, thank you very much for that introduction. And hey, what a beautiful day. I cannot think of a better place to be than right here with each and every one of you. So I want to thank the folks, Mandy Hansen and the team that invited me to come here and speak to you today. And so I'm also super glad I didn't read that whole bio because it's really long. But hey, listen, but like it said, I have the honor of leading the men and women of the Nevada Army National Guard, about 3,400 warriors that serve in every capacity that you'd see in the active duty. So we have in the National Guard here in Nevada, we have the M1 Abrams tank, we have the CH-47 helicopter and the Blackhawks, and we have explosive ordnance detachment and transportation and engineers and military police and really just about everything that you'd see in the active duty we have right here in the Nevada National Guard. So the difference, just so you all know, because one of the things when I come out and I talk to kids is one of these days you're all going to get a little bit older and you might be interested in joining the military. One of the nice things about the National Guard, it's the one branch, kind of like the reserves, in which you just train 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the summer to do your military job, and then you get to go do something else, whether it's go to school or work a full-time job doing something else. So with the National Guard, like the active duty, we will go anywhere and do anything the president asks us to do to help defend freedom and democracy. But at the same time, the National Guard is the only branch of the military that serves right here at home in times of crisis and need. So over the last couple years, if any of you went out and you got a COVID test or a vaccination, and you saw somebody in uniform, that was either a National Guard Army soldier or National Guard airman or woman. And so that's kind of the uniqueness of the National Guard. We get to serve right here at home as well as abroad. So we've had soldiers and airmen doing incredible work over the last couple years. They've gone out and they've fought wildfires and they've helped with civil disturbance, and they've done some evacuations and search and rescue. We've got a program that we've actually got 2 countries that we sponsor, the Republic of Fiji and the Kingdom of Tonga, where we go to those countries and we help to build their military capacity. So we get to do lots of fun things. And we also continue to deploy and redeploy soldiers and service members across the globe to defend freedom. So we have a mantra or saying in the National Guard, always ready and always there. And I tell people this little story, and I want to share it with you just so you kind of have an understanding. So we have a helicopter pilot here called, his name is Chief Warrant Officer Kevin Keeler. And Kevin Keeler is a civilian. He works outside of the military, but one weekend he was called to support a fire that was blazing in Oregon last summer. It was called a bootleg fire. And there was a firefighter that got lost from his crew, and he got separated, and the flames were kind of closing in around him, and he got really nervous and scared and really was worried that he wasn't going to make it out of there. And so a call had went out to help rescue and find this person, and Kevin Keeler, who was flying an LUH-72 Lakota helicopter, which was at the air show this weekend, really nice, sleek-looking helicopter that does search and rescue. Well, Kevin went out and started looking for him. Just as this firefighter got really scared and thought things might be over for him, he heard the thunder of the rotors of the LUH-72 coming in and flying in, and then he realized that he was about to be rescued. And Kevin helped to find that firefighter and rescue him and bring him home safely to his family. So that's a little bit about the National Guard. And I just want to share that story with you. And again, and so if you see a National Guard man or woman or really anybody in service, and we'll talk about Veterans Day briefly here in a moment, but make sure you thank them. So I also want to say what an honor it is to be right here at the Choral Academy. For those of you, and I think you know this, but this is one of the best schools in Nevada. And I've heard that it's nationally ranked and has one of the best science and engineering, technology and math programs anywhere in the state. And so I'm super excited to be here and say thank you for letting me come. The other thing that's really cool is that a lot of you come from military families. I think the majority. And if you're not from a military family, you have somebody that's close to you that you know. And so you know as much as anybody about sacrifice and what it means to support our military. So I want to say thank you to all of you, because when your parents and your loved ones have to go away and defend freedom and support America, you're there at home taking care of the home front, listening to your mom or your dad or your grandparents, and making sure you make it easy for your parent or your loved one to serve. So I really wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you for your support for your family. And then tomorrow, we all know it's Veterans Day. And so for those, so you understand what a veteran is, different than somebody who's currently serving. A veteran is somebody that served in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, and now the Space Force, who has done their service either in a time of conflict or in a time of peace. They've taken off the uniform and then they've gone on to do something else. They're teachers and lawyers and doctors, and they serve in all kinds of capacities. And so, but they're still part of that really special population, that less than 1% of Americans who served in the military and helped to defend freedom. They all took that oath to protect America. They had to endure hardships. They had to sometimes be separated from family and friends, and they did all that to defend freedom. So it's important that we really continue to support our veterans and our military and say thank you. And what I will tell you is that we all have superheroes, right? Batman and Spider-Man and all these other great superheroes, but it's your military and your veterans that wear the uniform that are real superheroes. So I just want to say thank you. And then if we could just have, I know it might be a long walk for some folks, but do we have any veterans? Raise your hand high. Veterans, look around. Okay, can I have the veterans come up here real quick? Sorry to make you get a little extra exercise this morning. And then do we have anybody else? I've got a couple service members back here, so they're going to talk, so I want to ask them to come up. Do we have anybody out here that served in the National Guard, the reserves, or that's active duty, that's visiting? And if you can come up as well. The kids, you can stay there, though, but we just want to, and come right up here in front of everybody. So look at right here at your school, you have veterans. Any other ones? Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your service?
Sure, I was DK3 in the Navy for 4 years, and then I went on to get my teaching degree.
I was television and radio broadcasting for 20 years, and then I retired and came on over here with you guys.
I was 8 years medical in the Air Force, and I left when I was in Alaska.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, and we honor you and your service, and thank you for defending freedom. And see, that's what I say about veterans. They never really stop serving. They take off the uniform for a little while, but then they go on and do other things. And it's so important that we continue to thank them and show our appreciation for their service. And so that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So tomorrow is Veterans Day. Does anybody know what Veterans Day used to be called? Armistice Day, right? Yeah, so they've been teaching you that. And so it was called Armistice Day because that's what they gave it the name when they stopped fighting in World War I, right? And so it was on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, way back before any of us were born. And then later on in history, a little bit farther forward, they made it a national holiday. And then later on after that, in 1954, they made it they changed the name to Veterans Day so that we could honor all of our veterans and all of our service members from all of the previous wars and from peacetime service, because even in peace, our military had to serve and had to keep us strong. So that's that's a little bit of the history of Veterans Day. And then we know that tomorrow, and really ever since the holiday and the observance was created, we've spent time thanking our veterans this one time of the year, but really we could thank them every day of the year for what they've done. And so in addition to just saying thank you, what else can we do for our veterans and service members? Go ahead if you have an idea. What can you do to honor and thank them? Be nice. Perfect. Right here. What else?
We can write notes.
Write notes. Write notes, yes.
You can, if you know someone that is in the army, you can give them a hug.
A hug, how nice. One more.
That army saves you because they want us to have our freedom.
That's right. So those were some really good ideas. Give them a hug, thank them, write them notes. Be good citizens, get a good education. You're here at one of the best schools in Nevada, and you've got a really strong program in science, technology, engineering, and math. And do you know what our military needs today? Really well-educated people. We have some of the most advanced technologies with autonomous systems and artificial intelligence and drones. So we need really well-educated children to help continue to advance those technologies and continue to make our military strong. So, and each one of you can do that and be part of that by being a good student, working hard in school, listening to your parents, and then taking care of each other and watching out for each other's welfare. So be nice, be kind, write notes, say thank you. And I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to be here. So congratulations on having such a great school. Have a great rest of the day today. Have a great Veterans Day tomorrow. Make sure you thank those people in your family who serve and those veterans and service members you know. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask two people over there taking a picture with my wife to come up here. Mrs. Hanson and Mrs. Holcomb, if you could come up here real quickly. Because the other thing, and I said this to all of you, when we support our veterans and our service members, when our service members have to leave home and go overseas or go someplace to help defend and protect freedom, it's our families and friends back home that support us and keep us strong. And if it wasn't for that support, if it wasn't for you guys taking care of the home front when your parents and your loved ones leave, they couldn't do the job that they do. It would just be too hard because they'd be worried about things back at home. And so I had the personal experience of leaving home 4 different times for a year, including 3 years in the Middle East. And Mrs. Holcomb and Mrs. Hanson were two of the people that helped my wife and my family through those times and really helped to take care of them, which made it really easy for me to be gone for so long. And so I, as the commander of the Army Guard, have a coin that I give to soldiers and airmen and other service members for excellence. And I also have coins that I made up for civilians that aren't in the military, because we have certain rules and we can't give them the ones we give the military. So I'm going to give them one of my civilian coins for excellence just to say thank you for all the support and love you provided to us. So thank you, including the invite to be here today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you. Ooh, jeez. Wow. But hey, the most important thing is that I'm Garrett and Adeline's dad. So Garrett in the back, where are you? Gary is. Adeline's at home with a fever, so I'll stay 6 feet apart from everybody right now. So, but no, so hey, so the general covered literally every single thing I had to say. So I'm making something up. So first I want you to know that, so General Armstrong is Army Guard, but if I'm remembering right, does anybody remember where he was born? Minot, North Dakota, which is an Air Force base. I just want you guys to know that the general was born in an Air Force base, so he's deeply rooted in Air Force history. And Veterans Day is something that's deeply rooted in our history. So if you remember only one thing that I say here total, and Garrett told me, Dad, you can say anything you want, just don't talk too long or people will get bored. And I think I'm already getting on the edge of that right now. But say thanks. So many of your parents serve our nation. So when you go home, thank them and all they do for our country. And I want to say thank you to you. So many military kids out here, and we pack you up and we move you all over the globe. So for everything you do to support your parents who are military, and most of your family are military, thank you. And then finally, to the staff here at Coral, who's amazing partners, some in front, some behind. You guys watch our kids every day, and we can do what we do because we know our kids are safe with you. So to all of you, have a great, kids, no school tomorrow. It's awesome. Have a good 3-day weekend, and thanks for everything you do.